All right, so we're going to talk about occupational therapy within the veteran population. My name is Michael Hall. I have Colton Harris with me and William Strickland. So we're going to begin talking about the veteran common diagnosis. Some of the common diagnosis is shrapnel, gunshot wounds, loss of limb, head and brain injury, hearing loss, sprain strains, limited range of motion. Some even have different back issues. Some can also experience sexual abuse, PTSD, and much more. So just even this picture right here kind of says everything. This picture, the person starts out very young and everything, and then next, a lot of things could happen to them along the way.
All right. As Michael Hall said, my name is William Strickland. I'll be going over possible settings. So, OTs or occupational therapists have the ability to treat veterans in the following settings: acute care, inpatient, skilled nursing facilities, outpatient, home health, and virtual health. The ability of the OT to administer care in multiple settings helps to ensure veterans have the maximum access to care they need. Some veterans might not have the ability to travel, some may be in rural settings, since some may be only in acute care shortly after combat. This ability makes the OT the perfect fit for providing care to those who have served their country.
And then we're going to talk about some of the needs. Once everything has occurred and everything, so if they've lost a limb or just anything in general, we need to kind of work back on the ADLs. We got to work back on the basics of toileting, bathing, dressing, eating, functional mobility, and even sexual activity. The history of occupational therapy began, is helping out with soldiers right after World War One, and then getting them back to those normal routines and being able to eat, being able to drink, and so that's where a need is right now. Or that need is still in need right now, just from the soldiers that are coming back. Just if they lost a limb, we're going to have to re-educate them on using different adaptive equipment for eating. Another thing too is not only just the ADLs but the IADLs. So caring for others, being able to if let's say that they have kids or whatnot, like the child rearing part, they want to be able to support them. But even not only that, it's like whenever they are in service, they may need service animals as well. There's PTSD service animals. There's all different types of service animals that can be provided for the veterans. And then as occupational therapy, we can probably give them the resources to get some of those those animals, or even not only that is maybe be able to help them. We talk about pediatrics when we talk about play and stuff, but do we ever even talk about the military? It's getting them back to that normal environment so that they can be able to take care of their own kids. So we start with this play mentality in pediatric, but what about the military? Why are we not looking more in the psychological aspect as well with them? But then we also need to work on their driving abilities, being able to drive from point A to point B, but even being able to access public transportation such as riding buses, taxis, and then but also home management. A lot of people want to keep managing their home, repairing it, and so that's also some IELs that we can kind of work on as well with them as well. But then also work. We don't just do work hardening, but we try to help them with employment, being able to. I remember one of the first semesters that we had here was talking about filling out resumes or helping people fill out resumes, and then find out how to be an advocate for them. Telling them about the ADA. You're just being able to, American Disability Act, being able to find, a right place that fits for them, but then also have them be able to perform those requirements for the jobs. Like right now we see this guy right here just kind of sitting there, being able to do the job. But what if we have someone that works at like a Home Depot? Are they able to pick up, those 40 pounds? And that's where that work hardening comes in. But then we also have education. Inspire them to, be able to walk them through. Like we have we help out people with mental disabilities all the time get the educational needs, but then we leave our soldiers behind, and we can't keep doing that. We have to keep moving forward. We need to think of ways that we can help them. And then social participation is the biggest thing, because a lot of my friends that have served in the military, they feel like they are alone. They need other groups, they need other people that kind of that can relate to them, engage with them. And so we're talking about social participation, family roles, friends. We may need to be able to walk them through being able to you know sit at a meal, be able to engage, just like how we do with peds. But we need to work on maybe the social and then psychological of military after deployment. But then we also need to look at leisure activities. I mean, they have wheelchair rugby, just all different types of groups and everything. And we should be able to try to get them connected with them as well too. And the next one we're going to have is adaptive equipment.
Yeah, so with adaptive equipment, pretty much like we've seen throughout most of OT and rehabilitation is concerned, we know what wheelchairs are. Our veterans or our disabled veterans, we often come into contact with wheelchairs, wheelchair lifts, under vehicle lifts, power door openers, lowered floors, raised doors, hand controls, alternative foot gas pedal, reduced effort steering and driving controls, assisted braking system, digital driving system, modified home equipment, which includes but is not limited to only shower chairs, rails, handles in bathroom and shower area, AI capable home adaptations, which is not limited, but also Alexa and Google Home. And as you can see to our right, these are some of the systems that are put into place for our veterans who have served and given and went that extra mile and can no longer or do what we normally can do, which is walk around or drive our regular standard vehicle. So on our top left, you have a vehicle that has been modified for persons who are in a wheelchair and who need to transfer over into something that can handle that. Then next to that, we have those different systems that can be put inside the home that can be voice activated, as well as our power chairs. And this system right here that is to the lower right corner, this is that reduced effort steering and driving controls for those who no longer have the capability of their lower limbs. So most of the driving and gas pedal is at the top, as well as the steering is designed to where they would just use that knob on the right side. And as we look at some of our prostheses, there are four main ones that we kind of want to hit on here. Is the transradial, which is below the elbow, artificial arm prosthesis, the transhumeral above the elbow but below the shoulder artificial arm prosthesis, the transtibial below the knee artificial leg prosthesis, the femoral replaces the missing leg above the knee. This is one of the most challenging of the four main types because with this one, this is a complete replacement of that lower limb, which takes a lot longer for our patients to get used to using this adaptive equipment or using this prosthetic. And of course, the artificial limbs, hearing aids, communication aids, eyeglasses, orthopedic braces and shoes, crutches and canes, and try to find as many good examples of each of these four main prostheses. And as you can see, the fourth one, which is the most challenging one, are these runners here who are, I think each one of them has the femoral prosthesis.
All right, on to what we feel is one of the main important things that OTs can help veterans with. As a veteran, and as somebody who's still serving, mental therapy is something that's huge for veterans. The military has noticed this and has started to implement things to help veterans and people, soldiers, be proactive before they go to combat. But first, let's talk about the roots of occupational therapy. Began helping veterans come back from combat who are experiencing PTSD and shell shock. If you've never watched a video on somebody who's experiencing shell shock, brace yourself if you attempt to watch that video. OTs can implement proactive and reactive measures to assist with integration back into civilian life. So once you go to combat or once you experience some life event that causes PTSD on that grand of a scale, the reintegration of the mind back into normal society is somewhat challenging at times. Once you experience that level, the heightened level of existence, normal life tends to be a little bit too mundane for you. The new military combat and operational stress control system has been created by the Army to bring multiple forms of therapy straight to combat units. So, what this is, they call it the COSS system. So, every single unit or battalion in the Army will eventually, in the next 5 years, have a occupational therapist in it. And the job of the occupational therapist will be to prepare these soldiers prior to combat, with not only physical but mainly mental will be the main job of the OT. Prepare somebody to go into combat and they come out of combat as sane as they possibly can. And then once they come back from combat, they'll have a reintegration period where the OTs will help the soldiers regain that ability to integrate back into society with a smooth transition. This is a huge thing. This is something that the military has invested millions of dollars into. And for this to happen, I would hope that it would be like a day of celebration for the military to notice this, because it's really the stigma of mental health and the, oh, you have issues, that's really going away. And for that to be going away in the military, that's a big deal. And so our group would like to say thanks to everyone for watching our video, and thank you for being interested in what we're interested in. And here are our references. And if y'all have any questions, please feel free to email any of us. Thank you.